Minister, and thank you for being here. And I really enjoyed your introductory remarks because they were sort of informal, very engaging. Often people read off a podium, so very impressive. You had all the numbers on your fingertips. I just thought I'd go with the first question because I wanted to sort of pick up where Trevor left off and maybe push back a little on your answer nicely. You said, and this is on the refugee crisis, so let me just set the table. What's happening is asylum seekers, because they come to Pearson Airport, they come into the GTA. They have no funding attached. So if you're a refugee from Syria, or Afghanistan, or Ukraine, the federal government attaches dollars to those people coming in. The asylum seekers, at this point, the federal government has $0 attached. So what's happening is they're coming in here, and then they're being forced to come into our shelters. And because they're coming into our shelters, at the region of Peel, at the municipal level, we are taking them in. It's the right thing to do. That's cost us $20 million already. The federal government is aware of this. So to say that $7 million is no small change, I'm going to push back, because that $7 million is for a welcoming center, a new initiative. But right now, the city of Mississauga taxpayer, property taxpayer, is footing the bill for that $20 million, which should have come from your government, collected from all Canadians. So that's unfair. And the challenge I'm having understanding is, why is it so hard for you guys to repay us the $20 million and make a commitment? Because this $20 million is spent, but we're going to keep spending through the winter. There's no money for the operating costs of taking these asylum seekers in. It should be a simple matter for the federal government to say, thank you, Region of Peel, for doing our job, because we did your job. Here's the $20 million you already spent, and here's funding, because we know this is going to continue. So I'd like an answer.
Okay, thank you. That's great. I actually really appreciate the numbers on that. I had no idea that the numbers were at 20 million, and that's very helpful. So I will actually, after this, have a conversation with Minister Miller. I can put you in direct touch with Minister Miller so that he can hopefully give you context of the negotiations that I mentioned he and Minister Fraser are having with partners across the province and in fact across the country on this. I know that they are engaged with the City of Toronto and the province, and I assume that they will also be in touch with different municipalities across the country. It's not directly my portfolio, so I can't actually respond. It wouldn't be a good idea if I start explaining how we're going to put more money on the table without more background from those ministers in terms of the stage that they are at in those conversations, but happy to put you in touch with them. I don't disagree that we all have a role to play, and it's a question of figuring out how to separate responsibilities amongst that. I know that there are numerous municipalities facing similar questions, and we have to do our best for people coming into Canada.
So I want to thank you for that positive response. And the only thing I'll say is, I think what's frustrating is these numbers are known to the people who ought to know. And at the very least, there can be a commitment. It's not that hard to say, you guys spent the $20 million, you're going to get it, right? It's not that hard to just acknowledge that. And you may not have dollars, but to acknowledge that going forward there will be stable funding. Because otherwise, it goes on the property tax bill. As you know, as municipalities, we cannot borrow. So this $20 million is right now coming out of our tax stabilization fund. So we're drawing down on our reserves. If we don't get funding next year, we're going to continue to spend.
and it's going to go on the property tax payrolls, which is patently unfair. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And
So as a general matter, I think our government has been very proactive in working directly with municipalities and not always needing to involve the province, especially where the province doesn't agree from a policy perspective with the approach that the municipality and the province and the federal government want to see occur. We've been doing that on housing. We did that including in the area of Mississauga in terms of ensuring that Mississauga receives money from the Housing Accelerator Fund. And Mayor Crombie, I thought, did a very good job in terms of making sure that the federal money did flow to Mississauga, and I thank the councillors that supported her in that effort. So it's not the case that you're going to see the federal government simply walk away from social problems. On the contrary, we are a government that works directly with municipalities and addresses social problems. It just so happens that this is not an issue in my portfolio, so I can't simply explain what is being done. A lot of it is negotiation, so it would be super imprudent for me to go down that road, but as I said, I'll put you in touch with the necessary individuals.
Great, thank you, Steve.